What's up, guys? This is Colin Bartel from CTD Productions, brand new YouTube channel here with my first WWE pay-per-view review, which happens to be Extreme Rules 2018. And boy, what a weird show to start this journey. This show can be best described as what Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer called it. Literally a WCW show, which means overbooked schmozzes, the wrong guy winning, tons of interference, backstage assaults, etc., etc., etc. There was so much confusion with everything. It was unpredictable because, you obviously thought, what the heck else is going to happen? Because there's been so much other crap that happened tonight, anything can happen at this point. It got to a point where Hulk Hogan wrestling was a viable option in some people's mind, which is absolutely ridiculous, but with the way the show was going, could have happened, and it would have just been par for the course. So, let's dive right into it. So, first match on the card, we had the B team, which is Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, versus the Deleter of Worlds, aka Broken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. This was the most standard basic tag team match in ages. This was so standard, basic moves, play into the crowd, and that's basically what both these teams do for the most part. The action was, heels get the advantage, face comeback, typical standard, make the tag, etc. It was a basic TV match. This match was better served on Raw other than opening a pay-per-view. And if Matt and Bray would have won, which they didn't, it would have been like, okay, whatever, okay, basic standard match, they won, obvious. But no, they didn't. The B team won. Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas won the tag team titles. Who would have thought 6 months ago that the Miz's Jobbers would be tag team champions, which unfortunately kind of shows you how the Raw tag team titles are treated because they're not that important. Like I said, the match was just basic. If you would have said a month ago they were going to put the titles on the B team, I would have been like, okay, but in hindsight, I would have been like, okay, because about a month ago was when their act was at their peak. Now they're kind of declining. It's like, okay, cool, they won. Oh, great, they won again. You're ruining your gimmick, And it sucks for Matt and Bray because I really think they could have done something with them. But at the end, doesn't seem like they're doing anything. Like, Matt posted on Twitter saying it might be time to move on. Like, this run literally started at Mania, your biggest show, and is going to last a couple months, and they're going to lose to a job team, basically. Kind of interesting. I mean, I guess the plan is for the AOP to Authors of Pain to take the belts at SummerSlam, and I guess having them beat the B team makes the babyface look more sympathetic and makes the heels booed more because they beat a more sympathetic team. Because Matt and Bray, you don't really get any sympathy if they get their asses kicked, but with the B team, you probably do because they're on this whole luck run thing. But yeah, I don't think they're going to hold the belts long. I think AOP clearly, I think, is going to win the belt at SummerSlam, mainly because they're the only other team. You could have the Revival win, I guess, but I think at the end result, the AOP needs to be the team to win the Raw Tag Team titles. But this match was just absolute, just basic TV match. And speaking of TV matches, that brings us into the second match, which was Constable Baron Corbin versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor got maybe 15% of the offense in on this match and won via roll-up. That's what they're doing to Finn Balor. He was your first ever Universal Champion, and now you're having him barely beat guys like Baron Corbin. People forget that this guy beat Roman Reigns clean on free TV 2 years ago, and was beating clean the likes of Samoa Joe and all these guys on NXT, and now he can barely beat Baron Corbin. Like, are you freaking kidding me? This guy has always been over, and it's just they don't do anything with him. They don't. Vince apparently thinks he's just mid-card guy. He's not. He can be a main event guy where it's, he can be a main event guy, fighting for the Universal title. But Vince just puts him in mid-card program. And every time you think they've got something for him, it doesn't go anywhere. When he came back from his injury last year, they put him right away in the number one contender picture. You thought, okay, cool, he might get his match. And then he took the fall in the number one contenders match. And then they booked him in the really crap feud with Bray Wyatt that thankfully didn't have the blow-off match with Bray dressed in drag as Sister Abigail, because Bray, can't remember what the heck he and Roman got, but they got something. And then he starts a feud with Joe, and then you're like, okay, cool, Finn versus Joe, this would be good. And then they have, I think, one match on TV, which ended in a no finish. Like, really? And then he lasts the longest in the Royal Rumble, and then enters an IC title program. You're like, okay, cool. And then he loses. And now he's in a boring feud with Baron Corbin. Like, it's not even stop-start booking, because they haven't really started with him. He has flashes of, like, this guy's great, and then they don't do anything. They don't capitalize with it. Like, I think, like, Corbin's character as Constable is way better than I thought it would be. When I first heard this, I was like, quite a character change for him, It was really shocking to me. But, he shaves his head, and he's really all in on it, and he plays it well. He's Stephanie McMahon's stooge, and it's one of those things where he's so opposite that in real life that he plays it well. I hope this feud does not go longer. Please don't have this match at SummerSlam. It is going to be freaking awful. Balor needs to move on. Hopefully, once they get the Universal title off of Brock, Finn can be one of the first feuds for it. Because, quite frankly, he needs it. He's not doing anything else. It's just a waste of, a talent. Just having him in boring BS, mid-card feuds. Not even for titles that don't mean anything. It's dumb. So, third match, we had Carmella versus Asuka. This was a James Ellsworth suspended above the ring in a shark cage match, and the question I had after this match was, what match was worse? Bayley versus Alexa Bliss in the kendo stick on a pole match at Extreme Rules last year, or this match? Because literally, this match was instantly, James Ellsworth starts dropping weapons from the shark cage to Carmella, which doesn't work, and then he either picks the lock, or he has the key to the cage and escapes within like 3 minutes. It defeats the whole purpose of the stipulation. He tries to come down, he gets tied up by like a harness or something that was already there or something. He's hanging from the cage, and Asuka, being the babyface idiot, just kicks the crap out of him and only focuses on him, doesn't realize, oh, she's wrestling a match. Carmella comes in, pushes Asuka into the shark cage. 1, 2, 3, this match is over in like 7 minutes, and it's 7 minutes of my life I wish I had back, because this was freaking terrible. Absolutely terrible. They have booked Asuka on the main roster so badly. Her aura is gone. I didn't mind Charlotte beating her because it felt huge, but if you were going to put her in the title program right away after it, you needed to put the belt on her. Now she's lost twice. She's looked like an idiot. But WWE attempts to book most of the babyfaces that look like an idiot, but it's just another case of person comes from NXT, goes to the main roster, they don't book right, it's crap. Carmella can't have a great match. She can have okay matches, like the match she had with Charlotte at Backlash was okay. I like the whole, she can only win because of this gimmick, and she's a good heel because, she makes you hate her, and I hate her, but just, dumb. The only way you can save Asuka at this point is for her to turn heel and win the belt off of babyface. Like, I think the plan for the SmackDown Women's title at SummerSlam should be Becky taking it off of Carmella, because it's long-term it makes sense, because if you remember, Carmella won the briefcase after she pushed over Becky, and Becky had problems with Ellsworth, so it makes sense for Becky to take the belt off of Carmella once it's over, and then Becky can hold it for a few months. Asuka turned heel, she's beating the crap out of everybody, she beats Becky clean, boom, she's somewhat fixed, I guess. That should be the plan, but knowing WWE logic, they'll just have a rematch, or like a handicap match at SummerSlam, and then Asuka will win, and it'll be like, yay, it took her 3 matches to beat Carmella, but she beat her. Resiliency. Yeah, but no, this was absolutely terrible. It's hard to believe that Asuka was undefeated for like 2 years at this point. because she's been booked so badly. They've ruined her. Okay, so fourth match was the U.S. title, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy. Now, this match was supposed to happen on SmackDown a couple weeks ago, but Shinsuke Nakamura actually got bitten by a police dog and was injured. So they pushed this match to this pay-per-view. Now, Jeff Hardy has apparently been battling nagging injuries. Like, he doesn't do the swanton at house shows, I think, because he's injured or something. And I have to wonder if they don't trust Jeff to have a full-length pay-per-view match because he's hurt. Because this match literally was Nakamura low blows Jeff before the bell. Bell rings, Kinshasa, 1, 2, 3. Nakamura literally won the match in 5 seconds. 5 seconds. He won the match. You know, is Jeff too hurt to wrestle? Is that legit? Or is this an actual planned thing? Like, Jeff can wrestle, but they wanted to do this to get all the heat possible. Because, I mean, if you're going to do this to anybody to get Nakamura heat, Jeff Hardy is a good person to do it against. Because Jeff Hardy will never be booed by, you know, the casual fans because he's Jeff Hardy. Like, they tried to turn him heel once in WWE, and it literally didn't work. So they reverted him back to being a babyface. So, yeah. So then Nakamura celebrates on the table, and then we hear the music of Randall Keith Orton. And he returns. He's been gone for 2 months, I think, just to take time off. And my initial thought was, okay, this makes sense, because he and Nakamura were kind of buddy-buddy at the beginning of the year. Like, they had the feud with Owens and Zayn in December, and then they kind of had a thing in January. Like, Orton just randomly RKO'd Nakamura on an episode of SmackDown. So I thought, okay, Nakamura's a heel now, Orton's babyface. But then Orton decides to grab Jeff and then kick him in the abdomen and leave. Now, I don't know if this is a heel turn or not, because I thought it was a heel turn, but now apparently the plan is potentially still Orton Nakamura, but this was just Orton saying, I don't have any friends, which we already know because you RKO everybody. Like, you RKO Nakamura, who's another babyface, in January during a match that you weren't even in. Just to say, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble, I believe is what it was about. Orton should be heel because A, he doesn't like playing babyface, and B, he's better as a heel. Orton as a babyface is so bland. His babyface gimmick is, I like to hit the RKO on everybody, babyface or heel, and that makes me a good guy. You know, now why can't you just book a heel versus heel feud? Why? Why can't you? I don't get it. You know, and why would Orton attack Jeff, in all honesty? Like, yeah, he lost a match to him at Backlash, but, like, seriously. Just confusing. I guess it adds to the intrigue, I guess? Maybe. I mean, who the hell knows? But, you know, who knows? Jeff and Nakamura have a rematch on SmackDown. We'll see if it's kind of the same thing like this, or if Jeff can actually have a match. If Jeff actually has a match, we'll kind of realize, okay, then Jeff can actually wrestle still, instead of, you know, he can't, which seems to be the case now, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, Nakamura finally wins a title on the main roster, and he needed it after the debacle of the feud with AJ Styles, which I'm still sad about, because that should have been amazing, but WWE ruined it with crap finishes. So, next match, Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman in a steel cage. The role where the babyface heel roles should be the other way around. So basically the build is Owens tried to be a friend to Braun apparently, but Owens is like, nah, he never really hit him or anything. He just doesn't want to fight Braun, and Braun just starts doing mean stuff to him. Like, he attacks him, he finds Owens in a porta potty, pushes him off a stage, and Kurt Angle, who, remind you, doesn't want Bayley and Sasha Banks fighting, so he sends them to therapy, says to them, we're going to solve this. You guys are going to wrestle a steel cage match, so Kevin Owens can't run. A steel cage match where you can literally win by running, aka escaping the cage. Which, you know, if you're going to do that logic, why don't you do Hell in a Cell? Which I'm glad they didn't, because I'd rather not have Owens not get thrown off the cell instead of the cage, like he did. But no, like, you booked a match where running is an option. Your logic. And, you know, if that's your logic, why aren't Bayley and Sasha Banks fighting in a cage? That would have been better than this. So, basically, the match starts. Owens runs immediately. And I love this. Kurt commentary on this show from Jonathan Coachman was atrocious. There's 3 instances where he was an idiot. This is the first one. Well, probably more than 3, but 3 big ones. The first one, Michael Cole says, you can win by escape. And then Jonathan Coachman basically says something like, there's no escape for Kevin Owens. I'm like, dude, he just said you can win by escape. But no, Owens tries to escape immediately. Braun just continually thwarts him. He tells Owens, your shirt says, your fight, Owens, fight. Well, fight me. And ironically, Owens' t-shirt said, fight anyone. So Owens, being the babyface, says, you know what, screw it, and fights him. And actually takes it to him. He hits a frog splash, super kick, a stunner, a actually pretty crap Stone Cold Stunner. I'm sure Steve will have words with him. But, so they do that. A bunch of stuff happens. Strowman eventually gains the upper hand. And then Owens handcuffs Braun Strowman to the ring ropes. And then Kevin Owens is an idiot. Instead of immediately hightailing it, he decides to punch Braun. He eventually gets chokeslammed for it. Decides to punch Braun. Then he eventually gets up. He does the DX crotch chop. Goes up to climb. And then he does the CM Punk blow a kiss goodbye. And then Braun Strowman, because they always do this, he rips out of the handcuffs, which he had been trying to do for 2 minutes, which is kind of dumb. He meets Owens at the top of the cage, and my initial thought was, okay, he's going to throw him back in the ring, climb down, win. No! He chokeslams Owens off the cage, through the announce table. Huge spot. But Owens wins the match, because obviously his feet hit the floor first, because he got thrown through the damn table. So basically, Braun Strowman does not care about winning, as long as, he inflicts pain on his opponent, which is fine, but you have the Money in the Bank briefcase, so you would think winning would matter to him, but you never know. Can Kevin Owens stop taking these huge bumps on a monthly basis? He's had a bad back before. Are they trying to kill Kevin Owens? Did he do something to Vince? And Vince is like, as punishment, we're going to make you fall off all the highest thing possible. Like, next month, you're going to fall off the Titantron like my son Shane did at SummerSlam or Unforgiven back in the day. So, this match was literally a feud for one high spot. The winner and the loser didn't matter at all, which is a shame because wins and losses matter, and they should matter, but they booked it to where it didn't. And it's basically, I think, to the point where Braun is literally just doing placeholder stuff until he eventually cashes in and wins the belt. So, yeah. It was okay. It was match of the night up to this point, which is really telling you something. So, now we have the SmackDown Tag Team Championships between the Bludgeon Brothers and the newly reunited Team Hell No, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan and Kane. Now, apparently Kane, we didn't know this at the time, we know this now, but Kane apparently has a legit left ankle injury. So, they did a pre-match beatdown earlier on the night where they stuck Kane's ankle in the door, and then they hit it with the mallet. So, Daniel Bryan decides, screw it, I'm not going to get another partner, I'm going to wrestle 2-on-1. Yes, they made Braun Strowman forfeit the tag titles on Raw because he couldn't find a partner. But on SmackDown, nope, Daniel, you gotta go at it alone. You can defend your titles if you go at it alone. That's just stupid. So, Bryan almost has the match won, and then, they break it up and all that, and they beat the crap out of Bryan. Kane's music plays, and he comes out in a walking boot. And I love how the commentators try to be like, I can't believe Kane's wrestling when his ankle's broken. And then in hindsight, we're like, yeah, remember when kayfabe terms were like, yeah, remember when he survived the house fire when he was a kid? Of course he's going to wrestle on a broken ankle. He's Kane, for crying out loud. So Kane comes in, hits 2 chokeslams. I think it was Rowan clips the right knee of Kane, but then Kane sells the left knee, which is the knee in the boot. Bryan tags himself back in, tries to do some stuff. The Bludgeon Brothers hit a shitty Doomsday device, and they get the win on Bryan. This match, I was actually looking forward to this match. I thought this match was going to be really good, but, once you saw the post-match beatdown angle, it was like, oh my god. I think the SmackDown writers loved doing this, because you remember they did this with Shane and Daniel Bryan versus Owens and Zayn at Mania. Don't book tag team matches like this. They suck. the team with the two guys always wins. I honestly don't know if there's going to be a rematch now if Kane's hurt. I think Sanity should be next in line to face Bludgeon Brothers because they beat the New Day on the pre-show. And that would be heel versus heel, but knowing WWE logic, they won't do heel versus heel, so they'll probably give the New Day a match, or who knows, they might say, hey Daniel, you want a rematch? Find another partner. And then he'll be like, thanks, why didn't you let me do this against the Bludgeon Brothers at Extreme Rules? Why? Thanks. But no, yeah, so then we had, and now this is where the show got weird, because the next match was Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns. This was the match that was apparently supposed to go on last, and it's not. And it's the match that nobody really cares about. So basically, this is kind of almost a number one contenders match at this point, because we all know basically probably who wins this match is going to challenge Brock. Immediately, crowd starts chanting for the Steelers, and I think they chant for We Want Beach Ball. There was no beach ball, so that's funny. This match actually wasn't terrible. I thought they looked okay. There was a couple crazy spots in it, like Lashley gave Roman, I think, a belly-to-belly onto one of the announce tables, and then he, like, flipped over it, and then Roman, he did an AA to the outside, and Lashley landed on his shoulder, and I thought he, like, separated his shoulder. It looked really nasty. And ironically, that set up Lashley's comeback spot, which I'm just like, really? You know, okay. So, in the end, here, Roman Reigns loses clean with a spear. Now, the first person to tell you, I didn't see Roman losing clean, and I damn sure didn't see him losing by Lashley hitting him with the spear, which, if you're familiar with Bobby Lashley, that was his finisher back in, I want to say, 2006 and 7. So, thank God they got rid of his vertical suplex as the finisher, at least. So, Lashley pins Roman clean. Surprised the hell out of everybody. Actually got a pop for it because everyone's going, oh my God, Roman lost. So, probably setting up Lashley versus Lesnar at Raw. Or no, at Raw, at SummerSlam. Wouldn't that be something if they gave it away on Raw? Because Kurt Angle earlier did the whole ultimatum. If Brock or somebody doesn't show up to Raw, then I'll strip you of the belt and blah, 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 blah. And all that. But knowing WWE, they'll probably throw Roman in, make it a triple threat, and have Roman win. You know, because you know Reigns is going to come out on Raw and make excuses and then say, well, the last time I fought Lesnar, I technically shouldn't have lost, because that's his excuse for everything now. Every week he comes out, I should be the Universal Champion, and now he lost, he's going to make excuses probably. But yeah, we'll see. I hope they do Lashley Lesnar. I really do, just based on the fact that, you know, it's not Roman Brock. I'd rather them do Rollins Lesnar, but, you know, I'd rather have Lashley Lesnar over Roman Lesnar any day of the week, because I've seen Roman Lesnar way too many freaking times. So, yeah. So, third to last match, we had Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax in an Extreme Rules match. Ronda Rousey is sat at ringside because she bought a ticket, and she's suspended at the time. Her kayfabe suspension doesn't end till Wednesday, and Alexa has Mickie James with her, and Nia has Natalya with her. Basically, this match can best be described as there was more action from people not in the match than people in the match. Nia and Alexa wrestled for about 7 minutes. There was a couple cool spots where Alexa tried to hit Nia with a weapon. Nia just grabbed it, threw it in the ring. She press slammed Alexa onto a garbage can, and then a bunch of schmaltz started. Mickie James got involved, and then Natalya got involved, and Ronda Rousey got involved. Ronda Rousey, who at this point was a fan, she's suspended, and she bought a ticket, jumps the barricade. Security does nothing to stop her. They just think of it and, you know, go, oh, well, she is a contractor. No, she's suspended. And she bought a ticket. She is therefore a fan. Can you at least give us a reason on commentary saying, oh, security's not coming out because they're scared of her because she'll beat them up or something? Does nothing. A bunch of schmaltz happens. In the end, Mickie James gets the best of Rousey and Natalya and then distracts Nia. Her and Alexa double team Nia. They hit a DDT, or Alexa hits a DDT on a chair. 1, 2, 3. Alexa wins. Like, seriously, this match had more action between people not even in the match officially than people in the match. That's how not great this was. I mean, so like I said, some of the stuff was okay. hopefully we don't see any more Alexa and Nia matches because they're not good. Seems like we're building towards Rousey versus Bliss at SummerSlam, which is great. Again, knowing WWE, they could make Nia in the match and, make it a triple threat, which, no. Do the whole, so Rousey doesn't get pinned. So, yeah, so Alexa can pin Nia again. Like, we haven't seen that before already. But we'll see. So, it wasn't. So now we go to, now the question at this point was, what was going to be the main event? Was it going to be the WWE Championship or the Intercontinental Championship? And a lot of that kind of determined who you thought was going to win the match based on the match order. And next was actually the WWE Championship. So the WWE Championship still has not main evented a co-branded pay-per-view since, I believe, Battleground 2016, when it was Dean Ambrose against Rollins and Roman in the Shield triple threat. Still hasn't. The only pay-per-view that title has main evented have been SmackDown exclusive pay-per-views. So we have AJ versus Rusev. Loved the promo package for this, by the way. They had a shot of like a calendar, and then they flipped through all the days, and they also had Rusev Day, and then they'd stop on one day, where it was like the day that Rusev won the number 1 championship match, zoom in on it, and then show the clip. Looked really cool, because promo packages are almost the same entirely for every single thing, but that was cool to see that. I thought this match was good. I think it was Rusev's best match of his WWE career. I think it surpassed him and Cena's stuff they did in 15, like at Mania. Then I think they had a I Quit match at Payback that was pretty good. AJ gets the win here. Everybody thought Rusev was going to win because it wasn't the last match and they wanted to send the crowd home happy. Match was good. You had Aiden interfering. He pushed the rope toward Rusev when he was in the calf crusher so he can get to it. He tried to put on the accolade, but he couldn't because his leg hurt. Aiden exposed the turnbuckle. Rusev charged the AJ. AJ moved. Rusev hit the turnbuckle. Then he hit a 450. Then Rusev kicked out, and then AJ murdered Aiden English with a drop kick, and then hit the forearm for the win. The finish was interesting because they did the turnbuckle spot and then a move, and then he kicked out, and then Rusev doesn't even hit another move. He just takes another move and gets pinned. I would have much rather it been, maybe he dodges the forearm, hits a kick, goes for the accolade. AJ slips through, hits Styles Clash, gets the win. But it was a good match with a clean finish. I can't really complain, So I think AJ versus Joe is basically set for SummerSlam. I think at this point, it's really the only opponent that makes sense. Doing AJ Rusev again doesn't really make a lot of sense. I know a lot of people wanted Rusev to win, and I think hopefully he can be a world champion someday. He's going to be over for a while. I think that's how good his Rusev Day shtick is. Again, this is kind of what I was talking about with the B team, is that I feel like Rusev's peak point in popularity was about April, May, and they waited just a couple months too late to pull the trigger on putting him in a world title program. Just a little bit too late. Now, it was cool when he won the match because it was shocking because nobody thought he'd win. But again, they didn't capitalize on right when he's on the peak of popularity. And when I say peak, I'm not saying he's not popular now. I'm just saying that he, he's still very popular, but seriously, when people were leaving Mania and TakeOver Mania weekend chanting Rusev Day in the streets, that's peak. And I don't think they're doing that now. But, not much to complain about. Great match. Looking forward to AJ Joe. Hopefully that's what they do. Curious on what they do with Rusev at this point. Probably should turn him babyface. He and Aiden. They shouldn't do Aiden versus Rusev because that doesn't make any sense. And Aiden's an integral part of, Rusev's character. The stuff he does in the opening is great. So, yeah. So then we come to the main event. It is Seth Rollins challenging Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship in a 30-minute Iron Man match. This is the first male Iron Man match WWE has done in almost a decade since John Cena, Randy Orton at Bragging Rights 2009. It's only the second time ever that an Intercontinental Championship match has main evented a WWE pay-per-view, the first being Bret Hart versus British Bulldog at SummerSlam 92. So, yeah. So, of course, McIntyre is out there because, He beat Rollins this past Monday on Raw to basically say, hey, I can be out there now. So basically, Rollins wins the first fall at about the 5-minute mark, and Coach asks, and then this is the second of 3 dumb Jonathan Coachman commentary moments. Coachman looks at Cole and he says, does this bode well for the Architect or Seth Rollins? I'm like, what do you think? He's up 1-0. No, he won the first fall. It's not looking good. Ugh. It's going to be terrible now. It's going to be so stupid. Yeah. So then Rollins gets a second fall, and then that's McIntyre's cue, and this is about, I think, the 22-minute point left in the match. He jumps in, attacks him, and disqualifies him. So Rollins is up 3-0. So they ring the bell. Rollins attacks him. So then that, and then he stops, and then he hits a Claymore kick, which should have been another DQ. Because it's a new fall. So Rollins should technically be up 4-0. They could have done this a lot better. You want to know how you do this? So here's how you do this. Alright? So have it to where Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler are like tied at 1 or something. Have McIntyre run in, hit the Claymore kick. Or I think I called it right. Claymore? Yeah. Hit that kick. DQ. Doesn't do anything else. The ref throws him out. So Rollins is up 2-1. Ziggler immediately pins him. 1, 2, 3. So it's tied. And then he immediately hits a super kick, pins him again. So the end result is Ziggler up a fall. The end result of how they did it was, Ziggler tied it now. No! If you're going to do heel interference, it needs to end to where the heel is now up a fall. All it did was level the playing field. Which, I mean, I get it makes Dolph look weak, but, come on. And not only that, they had 3 falls in 2 minutes. Are you... God, are you serious? 3 falls in 2 minutes. It's ridiculous. So, and one more thing I need to point out here. A couple things. One, the last coach moment, dumb coach commentary moment of the night. Cole talks about, and this is when Rollins was up 1-0. Cole says, there was one Iron Man match that ended 1-0. WrestleMania 12, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart and all that. Then Coach says, I was in attendance at that night. John Cena and Shawn Michaels were never the same again. So he said he was in attendance at WrestleMania 12 and saw John Cena and Shawn Michaels fight in an Iron Man match. He may be passing Byron Saxton as the worst commentator in WWE. And they brought him back. It's not like he was here the whole time. They brought him back. He's crap. So no, right around this point in the match, at about 21 minutes. So, you know what you do at the Royal Rumble when the countdown clock's at 10? You go 10, 9, 8, and you count all the way down to 1, and then when it hits 0, you go, ah! So, the crowd is so bored, and knowing the fact that it's a 30-minute Iron Man match, so nothing is going to matter until 5 minutes are left, every last 10 seconds of a minute, they would go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, for every minute. They crapped on this match. And I'm going to talk about the crowd and why they really should not have done this and why this is so stupid after I review the rest of the match. But so then later on in the match, they get rid of the clock. So the crowd realizes, well, screw it, we're just going to try to guess now. And then you're watching the network version, and it's at 25 seconds left in the minute, not even at the 0, and then you hear the crowd go, eh. And then you see people get on their phone who were at the show, log on to the WWE network to watch the show, and see the clock and try to time it. It was so bad, it was so annoying, it ruined the match. So, let's fast forward here. Ziggler is down by 1. He gets a win with about 50 seconds left. Then he tries to hightail it. Eventually, Rollins hits a curb stomp. Tries to go for the cover. He can't make it. Right when he goes for the cover, the clock hits 0. Of course, the crowd, they go, eh. Oh, and by the way, they put the clock back on because, Rollins and Ziggler needed it to map out the finish. And when they took the clock away, the crowd chanted, fix the clock! Fix the clock! Fix the clock! And then, no kidding, when they put the clock back up on the screen, got the biggest pop of the night. Seriously, the biggest pop of the night. It was ridiculous. So do that. So then the crowd starts booing, and then you think to yourself, oh my god, they're going to end this on a draw. Nope, out comes Kurt Angle and he says, my hometown of Pittsburgh didn't come here to see a draw. And we're like, yeah, you're right. And then we're like, they didn't really give a crap about the match because they were chanting for the clock, so they don't care. And now Kurt Angle says, restart the match, sudden death, and the crowd's going, woo, yes, because now they're into the match because there's no clock, so they can't chant for the clock. So I think to myself, okay, this could be cool. Give them 5 minutes, bunch of near falls, big moves, have a winner, right? No, right when the match starts, McIntyre, who's already been ejected, by the way, comes out, Rollins hits him with his shitty V-trigger, Ziggler hits a zigzag, 1, 2, 3, literally 5 seconds after the match restarted, Ziggler won. I hated this, but I laughed my ass off. One, I laughed because they got into the match, and then they got 5 seconds of them being into the match, and the match was over. Serves them right, because they weren't into the other 30 minutes of the match. Secondly, I was angry, because, really? That's your finish? You couldn't just have Ziggler, cheat to win? You had to have McIntyre interfere again, who's already been ejected? And knowing WWE, are they going to punish McIntyre for this? No! Are they going to punish Rousey for jumping the barricade as a fan? No! Are they going to punish McIntyre for doing this? No! Remember when Jericho was banned from ringside during a Universal title match Owens had with Rollins on Raw a number of years ago, and Jericho was there in a mask? Did they punish Jericho? No! Nothing's going to happen to this. Nothing from a kayfabe sense. Absolutely nothing. So Ziggler wins. The finish was not good. WWE is not going to book an Iron Man match, maybe ever again, because they know this is going to happen. It was terrible. It was freaking terrible. So no, back onto the crowd, though. So, everybody didn't want Roman versus Lashley in the main event, right? Nobody did, except the Roman Reigns fans, and I guess the very few Bobby Lashley fans there are. You people all said, we'll put Ziggler and Rollins in the title match. And they're like, fine, we did. And what happened? This crowd shit on the match. So Vince is going to think, well, we gave them what they wanted, and they don't like it. So we're not going to give them what they want anymore as main events. So I guarantee you, Roman's probably going to main event the next 5 pay-per-views. And Vince's response will probably be, well, we gave you what you guys wanted, and you guys shit on it and didn't like it. Seriously, you blew it. If Roman's in the next main event of pay-per-views for 3-4 months straight, I'm going to blame this crowd. Come on. Seriously, Roman's not in the main event. It's the IC title. It's only the second time it's ever been in the main event. 2 great workers. Hopefully having a great match, which, it could have been better because they had 3 minutes of rest hold with 10 minutes left, which sucked, but I'm just come on! Seriously. It was so freaking annoying watching this match and hearing this stupid countdown. It sucked. Kevin Dunn made it worse by getting rid of the clock, but at this point, there was no hope. It was already gone. The match was ruined already. It didn't matter what they did. It was ruined. So overall, this pay-per-view, I'm not going to call it a bad pay-per-view. Backlash was a bad pay-per-view. There were some okay matches. In the end, the right person won a lot of the matches. Just the way they booked it, or, the way they booked it, and how it happened, and all this, or crowd turning on the match, whatever, just made it a really weird show. This isn't the worst pay-per-view, by far. This won't be the worst pay-per-view of the year. It's definitely not the best. It's, probably going to be bottom tier. If the booking was right, this show might have been okay. I went into this show, and I had high expectations. I was like, okay, cool, 30-minute Iron Man match between Rollins and Ziggler. They've been killing it. They had a 27-minute match on Raw a couple weeks ago. That was awesome. AJ Rusev, that should be good, I thought Team Hell No versus Blood and Rose should be good, but they booked it to crap, and matches that should have been great were either okay or meh because they booked it like crap. Whether it be, it's a handicap match now because this guy got attacked backstage, or, let's book a crap ton of interference and completely ruin the flow of the match, or whatever, or let's book a match that lasts 5 seconds, or whatever. It just was weird. WWE's booking as of weird has been really odd, to say the least. Really odd. Hopefully they get it turned around, because SummerSlam is up next, and if SummerSlam's bad, oh boy, then I have no hope for the rest of the B shows for the rest of 2018. So yeah. So that was Extreme Rules. Very WCW-esque show. So that'll do it. We're a new channel starting up. We'll be talking WWE, NFL, MLB, sports. We won't be making videos super often. I mean, we'll try. I'm going to hopefully make this pay-per-view review thing a monthly thing. So hit the like button, subscribe. If I sucked, comment and give me criticism and say I suck. So be it. If you like the video, obviously subscribe, share it so we can get more subscribers, get a bigger following, hopefully. If not, oh well, then you've almost got your own secret review guy that you like, I guess. I appreciate it if you do. So yeah, that was Extreme Rules. Really, really, really weird show. See what happens next. And that's all for now. Goodbye.